hello, and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and so great to have you here. I hope that you enjoy the show. Well, we're going to highlight two actresses that I discovered at Drama Works Theater, which is based in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, and Chloe Parrington and Vickie Blake are my guests today. And ladies, thank you both so much for being here and coming to the station. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
What I like to do first for the viewer is to introduce my guest to them and their background. So Chloe, why don't we start with you? Take us back. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. So I grew up doing theater, doing community theater, and I ended up majoring in it at college at Southern Connecticut State University. And yeah, over the years I've worked with various theater companies throughout Connecticut, and sort of right before the pandemic, I kind of, stepped back to focus on other things for a while. So it had been a few years up until recently that I had done any acting, and then I discovered Drama Works and ended up auditioning, and was in Night Mother with Vickie. It was a really great experience.
Did you know growing up that you wanted to be an actress? Was that something you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, I was very little, very, into musicals. Those were kind of the first, like a lot of community theater for kids is, musical theater, fairy tales, that kind of thing. And yeah, I did a lot of that. I always wanted to be an actor when I grew up. So yeah, when it came the point when I needed to pick a major in school, I was like, yeah, theater, that's what I want to do.
And then did you think that you would do New York City, Los Angeles? I mean, did you want to make it big?
I mean, yeah, so, New York is always kind of the goal for a lot of people, but I was interested for a while in finding maybe a graduate program or a conservatory to go to after graduating from Southern, but yeah, I just ended up wanting to focus on other things for a while. As I got older, you need to work, have a more consistent job, that sort of thing. So that's, but it's still very much a part of my life now. And yeah, I'm gonna probably act forever. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. And you should, because you're good.
Oh, thank you.
And Vickie, how about you? Introduce yourself to the viewer. Take us back.
I went to Southern as well. It was a college at that time. And I did an education degree. In elementary education, intermediate upper, with a theater minor. You said that you did a theater minor as well. And I was very shy as growing up. I have two sisters that are bigger than life. One of my characters, probably. And we do things, we called it pretensing instead of presenting, little kids. And I couldn't do it only if I was in the closet. Okay, we're ready for you out here up there, and then I could do whatever I was going to do. It was like a Sunday evening. So I was a teacher in the Branford school system, and then would do shows as a volunteer, of course, in my free time. Mostly the summertime, because the school year was very demanding, and when you're working really late on a show in rehearsal, like now you got to get up at 5:30. It was just too much. And I would do community theater. I've worked in the area theaters, including like Ivoryton and Mystic Seaport. I love Mystic Seaport. I did a lot of. We sewed as kids. And then I was doing a show in Branford, and the gal that was doing the lead was also a full-time student and doing the costumes. And I said, "Do you want some help?" Well, that was the end of that. So then that just developed into doing a lot more costuming than I would do in acting in shows. So that was a lot of fun. And if you're looking for a little money, that would be you can't. You're not going to make your first million doing theater. But
costuming, so you fell into it.
Yes. And it's a lot different than, oh, I see what you're wearing, as opposed to being on a stage, and it's like kind of makeshift, taking things, Goodwill, I knew all of them. And trying to, because there's no money, you have to try to make it find the pieces, a lot of road work, looking for things, borrowing.
Did you think, as you were doing costuming, that you would not pursue being an actor?
No.
You were always going to pursue being an actor.
Oh, yeah. The stage is very alluring, so whatever I can do to help. And there's a wonderful program, Pat Sowney, who also directs.
Yes, of course, Pat was a guest.
She's incredibly talented. She knows so much. I'm going to be doing painting churches with
you
her.
are wonderful.
And she developed a program with the Vista Innovation. I'm thinking I'm getting the name wrong, but I'll just say Vista. And it was a full-length program, taking half of the Vista students and then half of the outside community, and I did the costumes for that. What a great opportunity. And those students were just wonderful to work with, very appreciative.
Now, I saw you both in Night Mother at Drama Works, and you were both amazing.
Thank you.
And of course, Ed Wilhelms, the founder and executive director over at Drama Works, has been a guest twice. And I said, I have to have these actors on as guests. And he got me in touch with the both of you. Let's talk about Night Mother. How did it come about? Audition process? I mean, how did you do it?
It was supposed to be an entirely different show, Sans Merci. And Ed had invited me to do that part, and we needed 2 young women. And Chloe walked in the door, and we didn't have another person come, another young woman. And he says, all right, we're going to do, instead of this, which I had already memorized 1/3 of the show, we're going to do Night Mother. And I read the script. I was like, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
Now, go, Chloe.
So I mean, like I said, it had been, a few years since I had done anything, and I was, working in the area around Old Saybrook. I live on the shoreline, so I was just kind of always, was looking out for opportunities to do something, and I just saw, advertisements, posters for this new theater company, Drama Works, and I was really intrigued by the choices, by Ed's choices of plays. It seemed like more substantial than sort of the usual, community theater, regional theater fare that you might see. It wasn't, a musical or something. Nothing, against musicals, but so I just happened to go on the website and saw that there were upcoming auditions. They needed a, actor or roughly my age for this play. It was called Sans Merci. That I didn't know anything about it, so I just went in, read for it, and then about probably halfway through my audition, Ed just said to me, he's like, listen, I don't think I can cast this show with enough people because, we have you, we have Vickie. Would you be interested in doing this play, or have you ever heard of this play called Night Mother? And I was like, yes, I have heard of it. I mean, it's a very famous, very produced work. It's, Pulitzer Prize winner. So I had heard of it, and I knew it was all I knew about it was that it has 2 women in it, and it's very serious. It's like a mother-daughter kind of story, but knew nothing about the plot. So Ed was just like, well, why don't you read it and then let me know, how you feel about it. And I did. He gave me a copy of it, and I read it, and I was floored by it, and was immediately like, yes, absolutely, I want to do this. It seemed like a great opportunity,
It was just amazing to see the two of you perform on stage, and for the actor that is out there watching you, how was it to audition? I mean, did you prepare something and perform it so that they would make a decision whether to cast you or not? What's the audition process like?
So for me, I mean, I didn't know anybody, like I didn't know Ed or Vickie or anyone to do with this production, so I just kind of was like a walk-on and just read sides from a script from a different play, and really from that, I guess, he was able to glean that I was the right, type, for this other character that, for this other play that he had in mind. So yeah, I didn't, do a monologue or anything like that. Which I was kind of grateful for, because it had been a while since I had auditioned for anything, and auditioning isn't really my favorite.
Yeah,
I don't think it's anybody's favorite, thing.
I know. How was the audition for you?
Yeah, as Chloe said, a lot of times groups will ask for a monologue and the differing, but he just has us do sides. It's helpful, of course, if you can read the script. I've been caught in the way early days of not being prepared, and I'm reading. It's like, oh,
yeah, cold reading.
Yeah,
scary.
How about the performance? I was in awe to see the two of you on stage for an hour and a half going back and forth in dialogue and not forgetting your lines. How do you memorize? How did you do it?
I mean, part of the process is just kind of, spending a lot of time with the script. And we didn't have a really long rehearsal period, especially because, I didn't even know the play I was auditioning for. So, once I read it and, kind of absorbed it, I was like, okay, I just have to spend a lot of time with this, reading it. Spending any of my free time working on it. Vickie and I met up outside of rehearsal time just to run lines. Because even, our rehearsals were very short, just in the evenings. I would go after work to rehearsal. So yeah, any of my free time I would just spend with the script, memorizing the lines at the same time, deepening the character, doing all that other kind of work. And yeah, what made it easy was that it's an excellent play. I've been in plays where I've had much smaller, less significant roles, and I've had a really hard time learning my lines. Like, I'll just have a handful of lines and a handful of scenes, and maybe it was a play that I wasn't really crazy about, so I would get really stuck. But with this, I really liked working on it, so it was easier to just fully invest myself, and having a good scene partner, who's to help you out makes a huge difference.
Yes, yeah. Yes, definitely, yes.
What was the process like for you getting to know the play and memorizing your part?
Taking a section, reading it over. I don't even think I highlighted all my part, just the name, because it was I was going through highlighters, and I write it out. Maybe 3, 4, 5 times, and sometimes that'll stick. I put it on a tape, and I have a dog, so I'll walk, and in the early days when it's so painful to learn lines, and I always say my house is never cleaner than when I'm supposed to be learning lines. Right now I'm doing yard work instead of learning lines, and as Chloe said, this script was well written. The author gives you clues that will guide you into, it's like, okay, this is where we are. Now I can make that connection. There are other times when it's just like out of nowhere. So you'll make some obscure associations. When you're working, listen. Chloe was so good about just giving the lines. I was like, oh, that's where we are.
Yeah, treat it like a conversation.
Yeah.
Because, when you're talking to someone, you can usually, guess what they're going to
Yeah,
Okay.
hopefully.
Right. You know,
Yes.
so yeah, and it's very naturalistic dialogue too. It's very intuitive, and yeah, and I did things like, you know, I record myself. You know, you spend a lot of time walking around talking to yourself. You know, hopefully, you know, if you're wearing a mask a lot helps out in public because people can't see you, like, you know, going over monologues or whatever. But yeah, it's you know, it's like learning music, you know, just kind of like repetition and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, let's hold that thought. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You are tuned into Arts and Entertainment. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
So you want to add a little curb appeal to your home, maybe add a new feature to a room? Here are some tips from Better Business Bureau to consider before starting a construction or remodeling project. Plan your project from start to finish and come up with a budget you can stick to. Home improvement projects can get expensive fast. Be upfront with contractors you hire about how much you can spend on the project. And don't forget things like eating out if you're doing work on your kitchen, or hotel expenses if you'll have to move out during any of the work. Talk to friends or family members who've had similar remodeling work done. Find pictures to show the contractor. Be clear about who is responsible for ordering materials. Up the value of your home. Remodeling a bathroom or kitchen can completely change the look and feel, not to mention it can help you sell it in the future. When you talk to potential contractors, ask them for examples and contact previous clients to inspect that work. Be sure to check out their BBB profile for reviews and licensing information. And if you own a business, get accredited.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and I hope you're enjoying the show. Well, ladies, we were talking during the break about your present, your future. Are you auditioning? What are your thoughts about what are you going to do now? Chloe?
So yeah, so right now, and probably it's going to happen before this even, you know, goes up for people to see, but I'm still working with DramaWorks. There's a staged reading coming up called Works in Progress that I'm going to be helping out with, introducing a series of new plays, new works that local playwrights are going to be presenting for an audience, for audience feedback. So that's going to be at DramaWorks this month. And then, yeah, that's what I have coming up. Other than that, I'm just, you know, always looking for, you know, good local theater to be involved with, and yeah, and it feels good with DramaWorks to have kind of a good anchor in an artistic home, which is what I feel like I have from working with this company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Vicki? Any plans?
In one of the shows it's going to be in October, Painting Churches.
Right.
And it's a little less lines. There's 3 people this time. It should be not quite as heavy, but definitely some good messages. I'm supposed to be learning lines. Dragging my heels. Yes, yes. But it should be a very good experience. When Ed will ask, and now that he knows Chloe, and he'll have shows in mind, he's amazing. He reads a lot and does, as Chloe had said, works that are not, we're not doing Neil Simon, but I've done Neil Simon, and I love doing those shows. It's definitely something to sink your teeth into. There's good people that come in to do this work. I'm so glad that he's opened this little space up, and we're getting going. I hope that people will look for us. Once you find the theater, then we can.
It's so true once you find it.
Yeah, it's tricky at first.
You know, I've had Ed Wilhelms on twice as a guest, and we've talked about DramaWorks. I have gone, that's when I saw you both in Night Mother. It's 44 seats, it's a small theater. How was it to be in such an intimate space? Was it a good experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've done a lot of really small theater, but yeah, it was great, and it's still like, you know, kind of a normal proscenium with the audience kind of set back, so you don't really feel like, you know, I didn't feel like I was kind of like right in people's faces. I was able to kind of get lost in the set, in the scene. But yeah, it was great. You know, once the lights come up for the curtain call and like actually seeing everyone and them getting to see you and being able to just kind of mingle with this small community of people, it was like, oh wow, this really is, you know, I really did like share this intimate thing with people that are really invested. So that's what felt so great about it. And we had really great audiences too, which was really great.
Very supportive.
Yeah.
It was great when I was there. How was the space for you? How was it performing at DramaWorks?
As you said, it's a small space.
Yes.
And there is no room backstage. When we had done Rabbit Hole, there were more than 2 people in the cast, and you couldn't move. You had to just stand there and do nothing. And you know, sometimes you might reach for something and then it drops like, oh, and everybody's looking. And the flats aren't attached. You'd see them go, don't touch that. And you just, but this, I was on all the time. Chloe could go and get a little sip of water.
Yeah.
In the very top of the show of Night Mother, she eats this snowball. I like sweets, but this was just like, oh, good. And there was little pieces of coconut, and it'd be just kind of floating around. Oh no! And it'd kind of turn and then away from the audience and like try to.
There's nowhere to hide.
No,
Yeah.
no.
To the actor that is out there thinking about pursuing an acting career or is pursuing one now, maybe stumbling along the way, any thoughts as to how they can pursue a career in it? Do they do local theater? Do they go to school? Do they do workshops? What are your thoughts about them getting started?
Yeah, I mean, you know, having really good training can be super helpful. And yeah, knowing what you like, what you want to do. It took me a long time to kind of, you know, figure that out and be able to find, you know, seek out that kind of work. So, you know, read a lot of plays, go to a lot of theater, support, you know, your community, your friends that are actors or playwrights or directors or what have you. And yeah, just know what it is you want to do and be able to, you know, if you just want to be an actor and act, like go do that, go audition for anything and everything that you can. And yeah, other than that, you know, yeah, good training and sticking with it.
How about you?
Auditioning is a great, I mean, even if you know that, well, I've got a commitment on one of the shows, I can't do it, go for the audition. It's not nice to be dishonest and then let them think that you're going to be available, but just to see the different directors, different shows, different spaces. In life, there's this small group, and it's very interesting how many people you might meet, and you never know. Even though you didn't audition, somebody might know you and say, Chloe would be great for this part. She didn't audition, but let's call her in. It's a good experience. I was a teacher, so that paid my bills. It's a nice hobby. Can you make any money? I don't know. I didn't want to go to New York. I wanted to have it be a hobby and then pour my heart and soul into it. I find that when I volunteer for something, I work a lot harder. That doesn't sound right, but
Totally got it.
it's because I love it. I'm doing it from the heart.
As we start to run out of time, what are some of the thoughts for the viewers that are watching us? I mean, the future, how does it look for the two of you? What are your thoughts about the industry in general? How was the pandemic? Did it affect you?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it was kind of right before the pandemic that I was, wanting to focus on other things, do, different kinds of work. But yeah, when the pandemic started and there was really nothing, like no live theater to be a part of, I did feel that loss. So it was good to, you know, find something to come back to that was comfortable, that felt safe, you know, and yeah, so I'm, you know, happy with, you know, again, like I said, finding, you know, an artistic home to be able to use that training I had, you know, work on more substantial plays, things, you know, that have more complex subject matter like this, like Night Mother certainly had. So yeah, I feel good about what I'm doing. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see as, you know, more things, you know, open up, start being produced, what will come out of this, how, you know, how the nature of theater will change overall.
We are running out of time. Any closing thoughts on your half?
Thank you for having us. It's,
Yes.
you know, just such a great experience that you're bringing Drama Works Theater to people. I don't think that they would be disappointed in going there. Ed is a really good person and so generous that he is offering this for us.
Well, it's been so nice to have both of you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And congratulations to your success. You were absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
In Night Mother. And I just am so moved. Like I showed you before, I have the brochure still because it meant a lot for me to go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again for coming. I appreciate it. And you've been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. I hope you enjoyed the show. Have a super day today. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.